CO, Halito, how you doing, cuz?
Hey, that's number T. What's going on? What's happening, family? We'd like to welcome everybody that's inside our chat. Our family. You know what I'm saying? You know who you are. You know what I'm saying? And I like to say greetings to everyone. And let's get it on the road, baby. I know y'all see the title of today. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, let's get to the bread and butter of the situation, right? You know. So so yeah. Hey, wonderful Storm, how you doing? It's Stormo. What's going on? Yeah, what's going on, family? What's going on? Yeah, you know, dealing with the history aspect of things that's going on, you actually have people who trying to deny the admixtures of some of those families that mixed in within the southeast and the south coast. You know, and even before there was even the so-called transatlantic slave trade. But see, people won't know that unless they have tribal information that come from their elders, you know. And I don't knock nobody who not able to get that information. But if you just can, tie yourself to the nations that you see running through your veins, then you probably can get that information, you know. But the way how things are going is a big push, a big old push, and it's racism within this land. If we know where it actually started from, if we know where it derived from, if we know what happened, right? But yet, the information that we already knew, we had got it orally from the ancestors, right? Those that was here amongst us that transitioned, that said yes, they had those that came across the Barren Strait who was a war machine, who was warmongers, and they were trying to get rid of the black and brown mound builders. All right. So we heard of the stories orally, but we didn't know who the people was until a person who I thought was a friend, right? But nevertheless, when information comes out, right, you have people that want to say, you know, oh, you not standing with us or you standing with them. And like I said, I stand on my own 10 because I have a nation behind me. But some people don't understand that, right? So it's not my fault that I was able to have cultural awareness, right?
Right.
On, on both sides of my family, on my mother's side of the family and on my father's side of the family. And I helped a lot of people without being on YouTube, podcast, right? But when you have people that trying to generalize and say we, and they trying to attack people by saying we, it's like they don't know me to attack me. But yet, when they come into my inbox, right? I'm not going to speak on the collective because I don't know where a collective of people who they are, right? Yeah, you may be Indian, but I can speak to you. I only can speak for myself and my family.
Right. You froze, cuz.
No, I'm here.
Oh,
I
okay.
just yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
And you know, when you know before I even found out, the people should have handled that on their own when you heard him come at your community. You didn't need me to help speak for your community because you knew that before I even knew it. So why you didn't nip it in the bud right then and there?
I have a theory on that, but I pass you the talking stick, so we can talk
But
about
yeah,
my theory later.
but you have people that trying to discredit the Yvmvse cool find it dandy. Okay, where do you go? Where do you go from there? All right, you Aborigine. Where do you go from there? Where do you go from there? Do you have your family intact? Or are you just on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram or Twitter, right? Do you have your tribe intact? If one of your family members get in trouble, or your family go show up to drove masses and be like, hey, you got one of our Aborigines in there. Who do you have backing you? It's cool finding dandy on the internet. It's beautiful. It's great that you get information out. But once you get off the internet, then what?
That's the true test.
What laws apply to you being Aboriginal? What laws? Because forbid anything was to happen to where if you was to get pulled over and it be like, read your memorandum rights, right? You have the right to remain silent. Anything that you say will and shall be used against you. Do you understand your rights? Well, as an Aborigine, what are your rights? See, I'm not the problem. I try to bring solutions. Everybody can talk the talk, but can you walk the walk? Because I saw some of y'all walk on the mounds and you're not walking on the mounds right. But hey, who am I? Who am I? And the old folks in them always say, when you know better, you do better. And this is called corrective criticism. I'm not criticizing you where you don't have no solutions. That's those that just criticizing just to be criticizing. And I have never, ever discouraged y'all. You Aborigine? Okay, cool, fine, dandy. Do your job know this? Do your children's school know this? Do the powers that be know this? Have you put these people on notice to where they know that, hey, we know who you are? Do you have government to government diplomacy? Huh? What happens if one of your children is taken by the Child and Children's Services? Do you know how to get them out? These the things that we need to be focusing on. And guess what? A person can say anything and put salt on me, but you know what? That salt either gonna make me taste good or it's gonna preserve me. That's the only two things it's gonna do, because I'm not a snail and I'm not gonna wither away. What's wrong with learning your culture and your heritage? What's wrong? And see, if you would have been friends with me long enough, you would have been known that I've been speaking about federal recognized tribes 9 Facebook pages ago. Because the Facebook page I have now, that's my 10th one. I've been putting out how dealing with the United States of America and the treaties, therefore, that was signed with the Lenape, who was one of the first nations to sign with the United States. Maybe this is why they call themselves the First Nation, because they was the first ones to sign the treaty with the Americans, when other portion of the family had a treaty with the Crown. That's when it became federally recognized. Dealing with that, they used that treaty to become federally recognized. So now I'll read something. I'll read something. Now, you get a lot of people that's so happy about being federal recognized, but yet when they become federal recognized, they become Indian tribes that are domestic. It goes on to say, yes, federal recognized Indian tribes in the United States are considered domestic independent nation. Do you know what that means? They are a dependent. They are dependent. And if anybody work, they ask you on your W-2 form, do you have any dependents? Meaning that you are taking care of somebody. And then at the end of the year, you get a kickback on your dependents, right? How much kickback is the United States getting off all these federal recognized tribes from them being dependents? Because they didn't say they was independent, because they say they was sovereign. Well, if they were sovereign, they will be independent, not dependent. Correct me if I'm wrong. So it goes on to say that it's considered as a domestic nation. This means that they are domestic. They reside within the borders of the United States. And not only are they reside within the border of the United States, but yet they are confined to a reservation where all of their powers are limited at. So it said dependent. They have a relationship with the federal government where some of their powers are limited. Didn't I not say that? They're limited. So if you're supposed to be sovereign, how is your powers limited? How are they limited if you're sovereign? From my understanding of the word sovereign, a sovereign does what they want to do without no recall. nations. They have inherent powers of self-government over their tribal members and over their reservation. But do they really have powers over their reservation? No, they don't have power over their reservation.
And where are you reading from so I can pull it up, cause I want to see what you're reading. And I know the people do too. Where are you reading from?
Let me go ahead on and do this. Okay. Let me do this.
Or you can tell me the page and I'll put it in.
No, I have it right here.
Okay. All right.
I'm gonna show you. Just bear with me while I pull it up.
All right. If anybody want to join the Sunday panel discussion with Southeastern Talking Stick Podcast, I have the link in the chat. We are addressing the pros versus the cons of federally recognized tribes. It's the topic of the day. Anybody want to join? The link is in the chat. And on the screen. And we thank y'all for tuning in. Wado Yakoki, Yvmvse. Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna come back to y'all, and then we go to. I don't know why I'm not reading with my glasses on. Where my eyeglasses at?
I know. I had to just put mine on and stop playing. I used to have 20/20 vision. Now I'm in my 50s. I gotta wear reading glasses.
All right, can you see it?
No,
Can y'all see it?
I'm pulling it up now. Okay, and this is from Tribal Sovereignty.
Right, and they say this concept is right complex. One of the one that has been debated and shaped by law and treaties over the centuries. Tribal sovereignty is always to describe the rights of the tribe to govern themselves, right? It's important to note that tribal sovereignty is not granted by the U.S. government, but rather inherited in this existence as self-governing political communities, right? But yet, it goes on to say this as well, right? Let me see if I can find something. Let me see if I can find something else.
Yeah, this other thing says the essence of tribal sovereignty is the ability to govern and to protect and enhance the health, safety, and welfare of tribal citizens within the tribal territory. It says tribal governments maintain the power to determine their own governance structures and enforce laws through police departments and tribal courts. And that's from the NCAI.
Okay, now go to who are the trustees of the land dealing with the recognized tribes, because they have to get permission right through the trustee dealing with the the um the um the Department of Interior, because the Department of Interior is those that regulate the land rights. because the federal government is the trustees of the land, and they was the ones that set aside the reservations.
Yeah, it says the U.S. Department of Interior is the primary federal agency charged with carrying out the United States Trust's responsibility to American Indian and Alaska Native people, maintaining the government-to-government relationship with the federally recognized Indian tribes, and promoting and supporting tribal self-determination. And this is from the U.S. Department of Interior.
And it said that the United States is the trustee over the land.
Yeah, because I put that in. Who's the trustee? Yes, sir.
So now you see, but if you're a sovereign, how can somebody be the trustee over your land?
It should be the tribal nation.
It should be the tribal nation itself. So why the tribal nation is not the trustee over the land, but yet the United States is? That makes you wonder.
Oh, this is a good point right here, because it says this is from the National Congress of American Indians, the NCIA. And it says down here under a political relationship, let me find the part that stood out to me. Okay. Damn, I just had it. Political. Okay, a political relationship. Native peoples and governments have inherent rights in a political relationship with the U.S. government that does not derive from race or ethnicity. Tribal members are citizens of three sovereigns: their tribe, the United States, and the state in which they reside. They are also individuals in an international context with the rights afforded to any other individual. I thought that was interesting because it said the tribal members are citizens of three sovereigns: their tribe, the United States, and the state in which they reside.
Right. And that's why I said what I said. They were talking about, oh, we federally recognized. But yet, you got a birth certificate from the state. Why you don't have your own birth certificate from your nation or your own register of birth or register of deeds? Or your recordings or records of vital statistics? Why your nation don't have that? But yet you want to hold up a CDIB card.
Yeah, and this is mainly for bullies that have federal recognition that flash their cards. Like, if you don't have this, you're not a real Indian. For bullies that talk that shit, this is for bullies across the fucking land that do that. Yeah, this is interesting. And it's like, as we said, the tribal nation should have sovereignty, just period.
All the way around.
We should only have to deal with the U.S. if we want to, not
Right.
it's written or it's law or it's in the political literature. No, only if we want to. That's how it should be.
Right. But see, this is what happened when they're not real, when they're not real read within the law.
Right, well versed, as they say.
Yeah. Well, they say, "Oh, we federal recognize, we federal recognize, we federal recognize." But as quiet as kept, if you're in the Library of Congress, they know about you, so that is federal recognition or federal
Right,
acknowledgement. If you want to be technically political
exactly.
correct.
Exactly.
So, what kind of games people are playing?
Yeah, it's that your quote unquote extinct shit that gives people this little gas in a tank. How are people extinct when we still here?
Right.
So, anything else you want me to pull up, cuz?
Um. Let's see. Well, we talked about how the trust and everything, um, and how they have to get permission from the United States in order to do things that they have to do on the land, and the United States come and do it for them, right? Because what most people don't know is that the reservations do fall under parks and recreation. See if you can pull that up. Reservations all fall under parks and reservations dealing with the United States, because all that should fall under the Bureau of Land Management. Because what most people don't know is that all your state parks, that's tribal land. Oop, y'all didn't hear that from me.
Yeah, and the fishing and hunting, you got to get the
Y'all,
license to, fish
yeah,
and all that. Uh-huh.
yeah,
Reservations
yeah,
are
but y'all didn't hear that from me. I come to bring solutions. I'm trying to show y'all how to fight the racism that been played upon you as an individual.
okay. It says nationalparkservice.gov. Okay.
Uh-huh. Go there. Go there. Mm-hmm. See, when you're part of a tribal nation, you know these things. And I'm sharing this information with y'all. And about telling people to cash at me, I don't need nobody to cash at me.
No, we here to have discussions, share historical facts and truth, have exclusive special guests that have the knowledge and experience. It's about stuff like that. If y'all want to support us, y'all can buy our merch and represent. We appreciate it.
Right.
All right. So it's just listing like the tribes and the parks. All right. It says want to explore this topic. Blah, blah. The national. Let's look at this. Okay. It's just talking about the fees, National Park Service, and U.S. Fish and Wildlife Sites.
Mm-hmm.
Bureau of Land Management, Bureau of Reclamation, U.S. Forest Service, and U.S. Army Corps of Engineers sites. And it's just giving the little prices.
But you saw how it said Native American, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. From the National Park Service. You're right. American Indian reservations that fall under Parks and Recreation. Okay.
And this is why the Department of Bureau of Land Management deal with all that. They deal with the reservations, they deal with the parks and services. That's under their jurisdiction. And if I'm wrong, I can be stand corrected.
Okay. The relationship between tribes and land management can vary, but some agencies and tribes are working together to manage land in a way that respects tribal sovereignty and traditional ecological knowledge. And then it just breaks down tribal sovereignty, ecological knowledge, and collaborative stewardship. That's what they call it.
Mm-hmm.
Collaborative stewardship.
Right. Right. So basically, what is the pros and cons of being federally recognized? What's the benefits of being federally recognized?
Now on our list, it's an echo, and I'm trying to see where is it coming from. You got your YouTube up, cuz, in another screen, in
No,
another window. Okay, I
no.
don't know why it's doing that. But yeah, we did talk about some of the pros, in which the pros are anything that a tribal nation should already have without an outside entity. So most tribes still flow in that. But then when you have the government that steps in as like a liaison or uh, a basically, I won't even say a silent president, but they step in as a liaison, whatever words you want to call it, but they are not needed. It should be a collaborative effort if we want to deal with them. And I'm going to stand on that.
Right. Right. Because you say that these people are sovereign, but yet they don't have full autonomy. Well, that's not sovereign. I have never saw a sovereign be a dependent.
Yeah, exactly. Like this is tribal sovereignty. Tribal governments are sovereign, meaning they have power to manage and control tribal lands, enforce laws. However, courts have granted tribes sovereignty over ancestral or reservation lands, but the government and private industry still have the final say over these lands. I'm gonna read that again. This is okay, and this is from U.S. Forest Service. All right. it says tribal governments are sovereign, meaning they have the power to manage and control tribal lands and enforce laws. However, courts have granted tribes sovereignty over some ancestral or reservation lands, but the government and private industry still have the final say over these lands. That is up. How they have the final say over these lands? How does the government have final say?
Because when you are, it's like you in my house and you're dependent and you don't pay no bills around here. You ain't grown yet. It's like you give your child a little sovereignty where they can go in on to pay you rent, right? And you can give them a cell phone and they can pay a cable bill and everything. That's what that is right there. You know, we your parents, and basically, in other words, like, you know.
Yeah, because it says they have the final say. That
Peace,
that should
peace,
not be.
peace.
That should not
Yeah,
be.
but it is though.
Yeah, and they are calling it a collaborative stewardship. That's the words they're using.
But once
Peace.
again, if it's a collaboratory stewardship, then how do the United States get the final say so? So somebody have more at stake to the land than the tribal people. That's federally recognized.
They basically saying if you get in bed with us, we gonna honor some of your stuff, but we got the final say. That's not right. That goes against so many spiritual and tribal nation laws to invite an outsider in to take control or have final say.
Right. You
So
see?
the tribes that are independent, the government does not have the final say over them.
Right, because they didn't lay down with a dog to get fleas. That what the old folks used to say, huh? Lie
Yeah,
down with
they
your
say.
fleas, right? Yeah. We do a collaboratory stewardship, right? It's just like somebody give you a feature on the song, right? Yo, you get a little portion, but I get the rest.
Right. They said tribes are increasingly working with federal land managers to manage ancestral lands through collaborative stewardship without having to buy the land or convince Congress to transfer it. For example, the USDA encourages tribal nations, producers, and organizations to partner together to improve land stewardship. And in 2022, the FSA entered into agreements with tribes in the Great Plains to address conservation needs on their lands. But this is the part that is crazy right here, where it says um working with federal land managers, meaning they are the managers, the supervisors, the boss, all
Hmm.
these derivatives over ancestral lands. How are they the managers over ancestral lands? I guess that's allowed. The people that sign up, that is allowed. And the people that opted out, they said no, we not doing that.
And it's just like the mounds that people go to. That's under park and recreation.
Yeah. Yep. And
Because they have
those
to do the upkeep. They have to do the upkeep of the mounds. They have to cut the grass. They have to tree the grass. I mean the mound and all that there. So, you had one agency and it was trying to give the mounds to the Muskogee of Oklahoma, but it's like, hold on, those not even mature mounds, but they're trying to give it to them though, right? But it won't happen, you know, because when the real storeships that comes for it, then they're gonna have to deal with it because we know our story orally and traditionally.
it's enough indigenous people on this earth to where each tribal nation can have people doing land upkeep. All that shit you just named. It's in every tribal nation, whether they recognized or not,
Right,
according to that federally recognized. It's somebody that cut grass. It's somebody that know how to do all of these things. So in a tribal nation family, you have a person for everything, a group of people for everything. The land can be maintained.
right,
We don't need an outside entity to maintain it for us.
right. And that's the whole thing right there. What y'all have to say about this discussion, y'all? What's some of y'all ideas and
Yeah,
y'all thoughts on this?
I got the link in the chat and it's on the screen. I will share it again. Oh, y'all quiet today.
Because it's like when they go asking the people, well, who are the mound builders? You ask them, they were like, oh, you don't know. And then you know what's so funny? The United States government know who are those who are the descendant of the mound builders. And they ask them specifically, y'all built the mounds? No. Do y'all know who built them? No.
Because they was already here.
Right. We was already here before those that migrated here.
Right. The mounds was already here. That and so they say they don't know, huh? That's the story they pushing.
That's the story they push it, but the United States didn't know. The Smithsonian know. The Library of Congress know. The historians in them know. Those that deal with anthropology work, they know. The archaeologists in them know. That right there, that part.
Yeah, they quiet. I guess they just listening. I got the link in the chat and on the screen if anybody wants to join the panel discussion. We're just going over the pros and cons of federally recognized tribes.
And see, they thought that we would never know or say the story or find out who was the culprit within the story. They didn't know. They didn't know. They think that people in the South are just some pumpkin heads or something, you know. But That's amazing when you're trying to underestimate us.
Right.
But you don't know that you're talking to real. You talk to those who deal with the culture.
This one is from the U.S. Department of Interior. So we not making this up. This is co-management of federal lands. Federal lands. Tribal nation lands. That's what it should read.
But it's not.
So this is the source of what I read earlier. It came from the National Park Service .gov, the U.S. Department of Interior, in the NPS, National Park Service.
And then another thing is, right? Because I remember a long time ago when they was talking about doing the DNA test, and I'm asking them, I said, are y'all doing the DNA tests or the forensic tests of those bodies that y'all took out of the mound where people can actually go into your data to see if that was their relatives? And one of the companies is based in Texas. And it was like, sir, I'm not liable to give that information out.
No, they not doing that for the public. They testing shit behind the scenes, I bet you. But they not putting that in those databases unless it's hidden so they know who people are, but they won't show the results publicly.
Right. That's right, wonderful storm. You just want to learn your culture and your heritage to where you can pass it down to your family and your little ones where they can be proud of who they are dealing with their culture. Because even dealing with the United States, right? They say they have done away when they become federal recognized. They deal away with the hereditary laws, right? They say they do away with the hereditary laws, and you can look that up. Look up federal recognized tribes do away with that hereditary laws. Federal recognized tribes do away with hereditary laws of the tribe. Because someone said, yeah, being federal recognized, they do away with hereditary laws of the tribe. Chico, what's going on, baby? Hola, amigo. Miscamochi, greetings. Checking in from Vegas, Sin City. That's what's up.
Okay.
Did it
Okay.
pop up about the
Okay.
hereditary laws?
Now, when I tried to put it in before, it gave some different results. But when I put in laws, Okay, they have blood quantum laws, the Dow's Act, understanding the American Indian Probate Reform Act. But the other one, let's see. Okay. It just gives you this: why the Navajo Nation banned genetic research. And then Indian tribe wins fight to limit research of its DNA. Blood quantum laws.
You're right, urban Indian. You're right. You're right. You're right.
They in this
Fuck that shit. I'm calling his fucking name.
they in this chat starting shit. Okay. Um yeah, why does this say invisible tribes, urban Indians, and their health? Well, as soon as you said that name, this is on here. But
You're not late. You're right on time, baby. Late is better than never. Thank you for coming. Yeah. Yeah, know what you were saying, cuz?
when you said that person's name, it was a thing that said urban Indians. Okay, it keeps going to understanding tribal law. So let's look at this.
Well,
Because
the reason why the people became urban Indians because there was another Indian Removal Act in the 1950s, and how that came about. This was the reason why the Indian civil rights was actually done because those
right,
people that were living on the tribal reservation lands, uh, the tribal chief and the tribal council and everything, the tribal government, they were they was doing anything that they want to do to the tribal members, and they didn't feel well about that. So they went to the Capitol Hill in DC and they spoke about their grievance with their nation. So the United States was like, well, since the nation is ruling with dictatorship and doing things that they want and mistreating the people, we go ahead on and move y'all into the urban areas, and that's when they became known as urban Indians.
Indians,
And
right.
those people still kept in contact with the tribal nation. It was not the people who was already in the area who now want to call themselves urban Indians now, but that wasn't for us at that time.
Unless you already knew that you had Indian blood, then that applies to you. You just didn't
Right.
live on a reservation.
And then another thing is that Indians don't have no rights asking for civil rights unless they was given citizenship in 1924 by President Calvin Coolidge, because President Calvin Coolidge was the one who gave the Native Americans or American Indians citizenship. But with that citizenship, they still didn't have no rights. So this is why the 1968 Civil Rights Act was deemed Indian Civil Rights Act, because it was dealing with those people who became known as urban Indians in the 1950s. Because then you had Indians who had treaty rights, right? Treaty rights, not civil rights, because treaty rights was human rights, not civil rights. So you have Indians to this day still deal with treaty rights, because treaty rights trumps civil rights, because treaty rights is human rights. And you can look that up, because look up treaty rights is human rights. Indian treaty rights is human rights.
It says, what are the 3 human rights treaties? The International Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Racial Discrimination, CERD. The Convention of Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, and the Convention Against Torture and Other Cruel, Inhuman, or Degrading Treatment or Punishment, CAT. So I did put it in, but human rights treaties.
Because the reason why treaty rights is human rights, because treaty rights falls under international law.
Yeah, it says
Civil rights. Yeah, because civil rights don't fall under international law, but treaty rights do.
United Nations Human Rights, International Bill of Human Rights.
Thank you, Ella.
In December 1966, the UN General Assembly adopted 2 international treaties that will further shape the international human rights. And those are the ones I just read. International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. These are often referred to as the international covenants. And then they just break them down. They both freedom of discrimination, right to equality between men and women, right to life, right to work, freedom from torture, freedom from slavery, freedom to choose and accept work, right to just and favorable conditions at work, right to liberty and security of person, right to be treated with humanity in detention, freedom of movement, right to strike, right to form trade unions, right to social security, freedom of non-citizens from arbitrary expulsion, right of mothers to special protection before and after birth, right to fair trial, freedom of children from social and economic exploitation, right to privacy, right to recognition before law. They got a lot of shit. Minority rights, right of peaceful assembly, right, freedom of religion and belief, right to health, freedom from hunger, right to education, freedom of parents to choose schooling for their children, right to take part in cultural life, right to enjoy benefits of science, right of authors to moral and material interest from works, freedom to undertake scientific research and creative activity.
But
Right.
now they say minority, right? Well, what's a minority according to law? A minority is a minor.
Yeah, mine, like, look at the root of the word. Mine.
Yeah, a minority is a minor
Yeah.
in law.
Yeah, and they try to, say, "Oh, you're a minority, and they're the majority."
Right. But
Mhm.
once again, a minority is a minor in law.
Yeah, the true essence of it. Yeah.
Right. Because a child can't speak on the behalf of themselves. They need someone to speak on the behalf of them. That's why you have an attorney.
Right.
Because they said that what? They said that um is your client competent to withstand trial? Right?
Right.
Is that child competent? Right? Basically. Do you know what you do they understand what's about to get ready to happen as procedure in law? But hey, who am I?
Yeah, and then they break down examples of violations, like with the water shit. Like some reservations, they don't have a good drinking water or water supply. Water treatment facilities contaminating drinking water. the right to health, and the right to life. So they are violating that whenever they are contaminating drinking water or the water is effed up. The right to health and the right to life. Yeah, they got some good examples on here, but
Yeah, they got the ratification of the covenant. Yeah. But yeah, you know. Now,
and
just imagine they say 570 something or 80 something tribes. Just imagine if all these tribes and all the non-recognized tribes was to get together and network
say that again.
without no prejudice and without racism. Right? Because if y'all knew the prophecy, y'all wouldn't be acting like y'all acting on both sides of the party. But yet, because I'm Mr. Switzerland, I'm Mr. Switzerland, they want to have a problem with Switzerland. You know, hey, Switzerland, like, all right, United States, all right, Russia, you know, hey, but nobody don't want me to be the meeting ground. But hey, it is what it is. But like Danny Boy and Tupac said, I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you. Hey, the truth is the truth. But yeah, that's look, the history of the blood quantum law. You know what I'm saying? If you was a sovereign, why would you let the Congress tell you who you should have and who you should not have in your nation? But yet, that blood quantum, that does away with hereditary. Because as we said in the hood, mama's baby, daddy's maybe. We know that that child is going to be a part of the mother's family regardless of who the daddy is. Regardless, right? How you going to deny the womb you come out of? You can't. That man can say, I'm not your daddy, but guess what? Who can say, I'm not your mama? What woman would tell a child, I'm not your mama, but yet you brought me home? Unless it was a mix up at the hospital and it was a switcheroo. A daddy can deny it all he wants. You're not my child. Your mama probably had somebody else.
You can try.
Right.
Yeah, so when I had put in that last search, it just kept showing like blood quantum laws. When you were talking about the hereditary.
Mm-hmm. Or laws in the United States that defines Native American status by fractions of Native American history. Fractions? Fractions.
Yeah.
So they're trying to break your blood down in the least common denominator.
They so greedy.
These laws were enacted by the federal government and the state governments as a way to establish legal, defined racial population groups. Racial population groups. Hold on. Don't this sound like eugenics? That sounds like eugenics to me.
Yeah, I do.
That sound like eugenics before eugenics even started with the Nazis. Oh, 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 right? And you
Uh,
know what? From me being astute about World War II, Adolf Hitler actually used that. He used the blood quantum to talk about the Aryan race.
Yeah, it says eugenics and blood quantum are both concepts that have been used to define and limit racial groups, but they have different goals and origins. Eugenics, the practice of selectively breeding people with desirable traits to improve the human species and reduce suffering. The term was coined in 1883 by Francis Galton, who was influenced by Charles Darwin's theory of natural selection. And then you
Now
have
you see. Oh, oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy.
in blood quantum, a fraction that's calculated based on an individual's family tree to determine their amount of Indian blood or tribal affiliation. The concept has no scientific basis. The concept has no scientific basis, as biological features aren't split in half when children are born. Blood quantum was first imposed by white
Say that,
settlers
cuz. Right.
in,
Go ahead.
huh?
Go ahead. I
Okay,
was
blood
going.
quantum was first imposed by white settlers in the 18th century as a colonial tool of dispossession and assimilation. In the early 1900s, the US government began using blood quantum to define and limit citizenship for indigenous people, separating them from their lands, resources, and culture. The government issues certified degrees of Indian blood cards to individuals based on their blood quantum calculations, which are usually performed by tribal or government officials using tribal documents. While many tribes don't use blood quantum as a part of their enrollment criteria, some tribal nations use it as a bright line rule to determine membership. So it depends on the tribe.
Now. Now. It depends on the tribe now. Right, Copper Fox. But you know what? But yet, what year did the United States Congress got rid of the blood quantum?
Hey.
Yeah, blood quantum deals with how many great grandparents you have that were documented as Indians. But remember, those that we just showed where you have a full blooded Choctaw, he was made a freeman. That's what they did in Oklahoma. And then you had a another Choctaw that was done that too. You know,
Okay, this is just talking about a legal history of blood quantum in the federal Indian law to 1935. When I put in when was it done away with. So they talk about the Indian Reorganization Act of 1934.
and you know what? And that was done after the big deal with Roosevelt because what? The United States went bankruptcy in 1933, and then they did this in 1934. And then what? They came out with the Social Security cards, what, like around the 1933 or 1936, somewhere around that time?
Mm. Yeah, it's just saying.
Like they declared it from that. That's right. Yeah, that's the point I'm making. That's what I was saying, documented. And as you say, that's why that's what his name was speaking about the phenotypes of Darwin. That's right. Oh, so they made the mulatto 1/16 to the Indian and declined from right.
Okay, like this says, this is Indigenous governance database, a legal history of blood quantum in federal Indian law to 1935. But this part is saying the paper traces the development of the use of blood quantum or fractional amounts of Indian blood to define Indian in federal law up to the Indian Reorganization Act of 1934. The paper shows that blood quantum was not widely used in federal law until the 20th century,
Hmm.
as the branches of the federal government used matrilineal or patrilineal descent or tribal membership to define Indian for various legal purposes, including during the allotment era.
See,
Of,
that's what that was for. That's
yeah,
what that was for. Dealing with the allotment. Uh-huh. We get
yeah.
into it.
Yeah. Of it says including during the allotment era of federal Indian policy. Ultimately, the paper concludes that the very uses of blood quantum reflect the changing policies of the federal government towards Indians through time and continued failure to resolve two interlocking foundational contradictions of Indian legal status: Indian as a race and as a political group, and two, Indian as sovereign and as a ward.
It's a what? A ward.
Ward.
Oh,
Like a ward of the state, a ward of the
yay.
government.
Yay. Oh boy. They call that a GI, which is a government Indian.
Yeah, that's
If you
real.
ain't got this, you got this. Yeah. Oh boy. A GI, a government Indian.
Wow.
A
And it's
GI.
just so effed up that this entity puts these labels on people.
And they know no better. They trying to use that to weaponize other people.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
something.
Dirty. Just dirty.
Yeah, that's real dirty. Dirty politics.
Yep. Anybody have any questions or comments? You want to join the chat?
Say what you about to say, fam. All right. Excuse me. What tribe are you?
Who is that? Indigenous serpent.
Yati Yamasi. Yati. Yati Yamasi.
What tribe are you? Indigenous serpent 777. What tribe are you? What tribal nation are you from?
I need Yati Yamasi. I answered you. You got
Yeah,
it?
And I asked them a question they haven't answered. Cherokee not enrolled, but on the old settler roll.
Okay.
Yeah, I have various tribal nations in my bloodline. And I also identify with the misnomer Creole, Creolos, Mestizo, Metis, all of those derivatives, because I am a admixture. I am of my ancestors. Therefore, I am the ancestral shapeshifter in this.
And as one of my good friends will say, with all that compositive Escalusi. Big up to Mount Society. You know who you are. I gotta say no name. Big shout outs to you and the party.
Yeah. If anybody wanna, if if anybody's brave enough to enter the chat, if you dare to enter our sacred circle.
Man, you got people in them. Well, nephew don't got people in them to where they don't even want to be of a nation that did all the wrong. nephew been cutting up.
Yeah, I see a little bit of it. I know he cannot.
They don't even much want to be a part of that nation no more. I'm
Hey,
like, they did what they did. Okay, they did what they did. You know, don't be ashamed. Shit. It's history.
yeah, it's pros and cons to everything. It's you do what's best for you and your family.
Right.
At the end of the day. Yeah, so we talked about the blood quantum. Um, we talked about various aspects of being federally recognized. We addressed some pros and a lot of cons.
Mm-hmm. More like the Decepticons. The Decepticons.
and,
they,
and
were,
that's my shit, Transformers.
they were the Decepticons. They were the
Yeah. Because
Y'all
that's
gonna
how
be
they right. That's how they got in the door by being a Decepticon. Basically coercing a people to say, let us manage your land.
What
Let
old
us
boy said? What old boy said? I am Megatron. I am leader of the Decepticons. But yet, I gotta do this, I gotta come on the other side, right? I am Optimus Prime, leader of the Autobots, the protector of humans and planet Earth.
That's my shit. Optimus is my favorite.
Roll High, Jazz, Bumblebee, Transformers, transform and roll out. I can do voiceover side. I can do voiceover side.
Yeah.
That's right.
Peace, cousin Al.
What's cousin Al? What's happening, baby? I see you. Yeah. Because the L came on and dropped a lot of information showing how you had full-blooded Indians that was made freemen because he looked like an African.
Right. Just discrimination, racism.
That's what it shows. That's what it says. And it carries on to this very day.
Yes, it does. So
Bobby G, you hear this nigga? He said he an Indian.
oh my goodness.
What you talking about, Bob? Look, come see this.
You crazy.
They talking about we $5 over here. And look, and you know what's so funny? They had one girl, she came out, she said, my family and them is on the Cherokee Road for Oklahoma, and we did the genealogy and DNA and stuff, and come to find out we not Cherokee. My grandpa, my grandma, they paid $5 and they got land in Oklahoma. And she came out and said, and I was like, wow.
Wow. This was what, a Caucasian lady?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, see if you can find the video for it. European lady comes out and said that she's not Cherokee, but her people paid $5. She showed this, say, and she stay in Oklahoma.
Yeah, and we're gonna play a second of it because we don't want to get the copyright ding.
Right.
All right. Woman.
Like my nephew said, work. We using their documents. It's not coming from us. We just sharing it with y'all.
Yeah.
And we glad to share with y'all.
Okay. KOCO investigation underway. This one that was December 15, 2023.
Mm-hmm.
After Oklahoma woman's home. But this is missing ancestral land.
She said all the stuff was still in the house and everything, and it wasn't even much of her family.
I don't know if this one is it though. Let's go back. Now they do list the Dow's Rolls and the legacy of $5 Indians. We can look at that.
If she sure did came out and said it, and I was like, wow, she admitting to it. Yep, she sure did admit to it.
It says paying a commissioner $5 could get an opportunist white person on the Dow's Rolls 125 years ago, which still causes problems for tribes today. Yeah, it's a lot of fraudulent shit. It says earning fraudulent enrollment in tribes along with benefits inherited by generations to come. Yeah, so if you on this live, I'm sure you've heard of the $5 Indians. So this is really nothing new. But yeah, some people know this about their family members and some people don't. In that case, you said that lady found out, huh? All right. Anybody want to join the discussion? Or y'all just want to stay in the chat? Yeah, it's supposed to be one drop now. I do attend the Cherokee community meetings, and we sing the song One Drop, that one drop song. If you have one drop of Indian blood, you are Indian. You got one drop of Cherokee blood, you Cherokee. Jalagi, Salagi, that's what you are. Wonderful Storm said that I thought the one drop of Indian blood makes one an Indian. Oh, I didn't see you waiting in the back. I didn't see you waiting in the back. Come back.
Oh, we got somebody trying to come on?
Yeah, Allah. But I didn't see her in the back. She said she was waiting in the back. I didn't see her pop up.
Yeah, come on back.
Yeah, come join the discussion. Okay. Oh, you got some outer interference.
Oh, can you hear me? Is it okay?
Yeah, we hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, right
Okay.
now, yeah.
Good, good. I'm sorry I had y'all playing in the background. Yeah, no, I was coming on to say that what you call, like, it's so funny how when you guys was talking about the like explaining what you was explaining from the excerpt, they mentioned Darwin, and when people was talking about phenotypes and stuff like that, people fail to realize that the Negro had their own section on in Darwin's I guess hypothesis on skeletons. And I don't think people was thinking about that when they was talking about the African American or the Negro.
Well, the German scientists in them, when they were doing the chronology and everything, the study of the cranium and stuff in the skull, well, all that together anyway. But they say they say this is the skull of the Negro beginning, and this here is the
Yep.
skull of the Terra. So they know, they know, right? It's just
Yep.
like you have um the puma in North America, got the jaguar in South America, you
Mm-hmm.
got a leopard in Africa, right?
Yep.
Right,
And you got a tiger in India. You know what I'm saying? But they're all of the Pandora's family,
Yep.
right.
right? They still are the cat family.
Right.
And I would go into some other shit, but that's for family. My nephew know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Right.
But I just, and then in regards to like the one drop rule, I find it funny because when they would say that if you have one drop of Negro, you're Negro, quote unquote.
Right.
Now the saying is if you have one drop of Indian blood, you're Indian. So if you have one drop of Negro and one drop of Indian blood, which one are you?
They say it's the same thing.
Hey, aren't they the same thing?
Well, according to Oxford Dictionary,
Yeah, see, we can use dictionaries. We can use dictionaries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just just asking. well, there are questions that I already know the answer to, but
Right.
it's just that it's funny how things is just coming back around. It's just being reworded to fit other people's narratives, but it just means the same things that we've been saying for years.
Right. Right. Yeah. And insiders know why I said we can use a dictionary.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, that's all I wanted to say, family. It's just funny how when you hear things coming back around or whatever stuff that you already spoke about and things like that. It's just funny when since people want to go off of government documents and this is stuff that government documents is requoting and things like that. It's kind of funny. It proves a point. But
And
that's
that's
all I
funny how
wanted.
you have that's funny how you have the dictionary in a jurisdiction. That-
Yeah. But that's all I wanted to say. I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. I'm going to go back into the shadows.
All right.
okay, thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
No problem. Y'all have a good night.
You
You
too.
too.
Koki, Yvmvse for coming on.
No
Right.
problem.
That's a good question. What does the DICT mean?
Cutting
Dictator.
up.
Yep,
Cutting
dictatorship.
up.
Uh-huh.
I said cutting up.
Authority. Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because what did it say in the 1901 congressional records? They said the boy he is the author in the in the authority or who the Yvmvse is. Yvmvse or Negro. He said he was the authority. He said he was the authority.
Right. And was that was what? The Roosevelt letter that we was looking at? The Roosevelt speech? What was that from?
That was the congressional records dealing with farming and all that thing.
Yeah, but we pulled up somebody's speech. And I'm trying to think of who it was. Yeah, I can't think of it right now, but we addressed that.
Right.
Okay, we close some of these tabs.
So my nephew said he said search the Yvmvse of Negroes on the Muskogee streaming page.
hmm.
Yeah, it's on their Facebook.
Oh yeah, because that's I was about to say
Yeah,
Facebook.
that.
Mhm.
And see, and what the beautiful thing is, just like with my nephew, he go and get the works of the anthropologists and their booklets and everything. These people that study, and they know who was in the southeast. They know this. They know this. They know this for a fact without a shadow of doubt.
Okay, and they give this source what they say. Quote cited from the Congressional Serial Set, United States Government Printing Office, 57th Congress, First Section, as a representative document 179 report. So they give the source right here.
Right.
I like when they give the source. Um, 1866 Creek Treaty. This is a
It
treaties
was
that
about government cuts.
treaty with the Creeks, 1866. This is from the Tribal Treaties Database. Oh, yeah, it's a lot. Let me see. And it said specifically where they got it from. Let me look at that. Page 824, document 179. Let me see if there's a search thing where you can search. No. Yeah, so this is a source where they have all the treaties in this database. And then they said, you want to read this, cuz?
Well, let me come back. Yeah, the Yvmvse Indians were Negroes. And they were known after as the fiercest of the Indian tribes of the South, right? He said the large Negro population on the coast of South Carolina is quite different from this here described, right? The mayor of Beaufort says that the town is remarkable for quiet and good order. And a most particular thing is that the Quaffragades in his book on the human race asserted the fact that the Africans lived on these islands long before the discovery of America by Columbus. He is the high, listen what they say, he is the high authority. And he says that the Yvmvse Indian were Negroes.
Yeah,
Now,
and we gotta dodge the hijack in there too. Because the fact that he says up here that the Africans lived, we know that we have admixtures and there were some Africans, but it's like they say that up there and then they say the Yvmvse Indians were Negroes, which is a statement, a fact, but it's mentioning the Africans that lived on the islands also.
but guess what? You got to feel
What?
to realize he said this happened before Columbus. It's
Right,
not
right.
during slave trade. So,
Right. No, I get that. I get that. That's why I said you gotta dodge the hijack on the the Africans part. Like they need
no,
to be
it's
more
no,
specific.
no, it's not a hijack because it shows that we was having relations with the Africans pre-Columbus.
Right. And I get that, but to make it clear for like somebody reading, if I'm trying to
Oh,
look at
okay,
things objectively too. If
okay.
somebody's reading this and then they see them saying the fact that the Africans lived on these islands long before the discovery of America by Christopher Columbus. And then it goes on to say he is the high authority and he says that the Yvmvse Indians were Negroes. So I just want people to understand that's two different distinct things. That's all. I'm putting that disclaimer out there.
Yeah. So, for people that don't understand, they wouldn't know. But yeah, if you're in the tribe, you know that we've been
Right. It's
converted.
all kind of people that come to our channel. They don't always speak up in the chat, but I do sometimes. I like to look at it objectively for them so that they can know the distinction. You feel me?
Uh-huh.
I know. She said, "Why are you cheesing?"
nephew know why I'm cheesing. We got a pamphlet. We got a pamphlet.
Yeah, I got a pamphlet.
And it deal with oral story. And this is how it is like when I asked my cousin, yesterday, and I asked another person in 2012, because in our era coming up in school, right? In our era coming up in school, I mean, we got some young people online, but it show you how the educational system was saying things. Because I remember at one time, you know, they had the map, and when they was talking about North America, they said that Canada was North America, and where the United States was Central America, and where Mexico is South America. You remember that map, cuz?
Yeah, you talking about the old maps?
This was like in the 80s, early 80s, the school maps where it showed where
Like in history
Canada was
class?
North America, and the United States was Central America, and Mexico was South America. You remember that?
Vaguely, I do. I remember a lot of maps.
Yeah. If somebody can find what I'm talking about, this was a map
I'm gonna
that
try to pull up a map. Okay.
this was the map. This was the map like in 1983, 84, somewhere around that time, when it was still showing that Canada was North America and where the United States.
Yeah. I remember that where Canada was North America.
Mexico was South America. Yeah. Yeah. And then over there before Asia and Europe split, they called it Eurasia.
Yeah, I remember that. I do. It's coming back to me because I didn't really like some of that history shit because they always talked about other people and they focused on Christopher Columbus and all that shit. I didn't really like that. I was into science and other stuff, but okay.
Yeah, but I'm just saying how they changed the map to
Right,
show
exactly.
where Canada was North America and where the United States was at was Central America, and where Mexico is South America. But then they changed it and said that North America is the United States, and then where Mexico is Central America, and then when you get down there to where Honduras at, all that became South America.
This is funny, but I'm trying to let's look at another one.
So Pearl, you know what I'm talking about, right? You know exactly what I'm talking about, because I know I was crazy. I was like, they changed. Now, when they changed the map around,
yeah, but I do remember those maps with Canada being North America. When you said that jogged my memory. But I'm trying to find one that really is showing what you're talking about.
Because the way how the map was, they had the world map and it was split like an egg, and it had the little, it was made like that.
Like this? I like that.
No, it's made with the little 4 splits. You know what I'm talking about? It have both hemispheres, but it made it like the dip. Man, I wish somebody can find that map, because I've been trying to find that map for the longest.
Let me see.
Is it that one?
Let's see.
Because I remember this show, Canada being North America, and where the United States is was Central America, and where Mexico is at. Yeah.
Oh, this is too.
No, it's not that one.
Yeah, I made it big so I could really look at it. No, but we get what you're saying. But what was your point of bringing that up while I'm looking for it?
Well, my point of bringing that up, right? When it was saying about North America and everything, because when the Lenape came through, they went to Canada first, which was North America, and then they dropped down. Man, I wish somebody could find that map that I'm talking about. Somebody posted, and I was trying to screenshot it, and my phone died on me when I was trying to do it. I said, "Oh man, fuck." It's not none of them maps. It's not none. It's not none of them.
For 1983 in the 80s.
No, it's not that, because there was a talking about that right there. So you can't pull up Barren Strait maps, but it was just a general map that had, when it was talking about back in school about the continents, they said that where Canada was North America, and then where the United States was Central America, and then where Mexico is South America, and then they say you had Africa, Eurasia, and
North America.
in Australia.
Okay, I put map showing Canada as North America. Let's try to look at it that way. See, this is North America right here, this one.
Yeah, but they had the word North America written over Canada. And then they had Central America written through the United States. And then they had Mexico and South America.
Yeah, this is the closest one we got so far. Let's see.
Wonderful Storm, I'm not joking. I'm dead serious. I remember that shit.
Oh, shit. I don't know why I did that shit. Excuse me. Let me try to put something else in here. Let me try to add some elements.
I was trying to look for a whole month. I'm like, man, this bird popping up from nothing. And I'm like, oh.
Well, this one just say Northern Territory. Okay, let's see.
The map was a world map. It wasn't. It just wasn't a single map by itself. It was a world map.
Mm-hmm.
It was on a world map.
Yeah, like this. How all of this is North America and this is South America. Then you
But that's
have
not how it was on the thing. That's not how it was on it. They had North America over Canada and Central America through the states and South America right there where Mexico start going all the way down.
well, I'm looking, but right now this is close to what you're talking about. This ain't specifically it, but I think this is as close as we gonna get at this present moment. But I'm gonna keep looking.
The map was made like a cracked egg. You know how you crack the egg and you have the bottom of it?
Yep.
See, I'm gonna have to.
Yeah, you're gonna have to find that because that's the closest one. So let me know what you come up with, cuz.
I'm looking for this map. No, this is not what I'm looking for. This is not what I'm looking for.
Okay, and then it so said in Latin America, we don't make a distinction. America is one continent subdivided in 4 regions. So that's coming from a different perspective.
Man, I know I'm not crazy. I know I'm not crazy.
I remember that as you elaborated on it. I do remember that. Anybody want to join the chat? Anybody got any comments or questions while we looking for this? While Cuz is looking for it. Thank y'all for tuning in. We appreciate y'all.
Right.
Oh, we got a visitor, Cuz.
All right, bring them on in.
Peace.
Ewa, pura vida.
Peace, CO, Palito.
So, I'm always interested in this type of subjects. I am somebody born in Central America in one of the countries, Costa Rica. I am an Afro-Indigenous, combination of Afro descendancy of slaves and indigenous people that were here, especially one particular tribe in Costa Rica, which there are eight, called the Bribri. In fact, the name I'm using, Ditso, means seed in the language of the Bribri. So I'm always talking about this type of issue because I work in this matters. I work in Afro-Indigenous communities, trying to improve quality of life, etc. So most of the time, I'm working on those objects, and I lived in the states. I've gone through several different tribes in the states to meet them, etc. But to us in the states, the definition of Native American um, has been too exclusive of those of us in Central America, Caribbean, and South America, as if to some, the natives that were here prior to the arrival of Columbus were not natives or did not exist. That's a complaint that we have had for decades now.
Interesting. So, is anybody trying to do anything to rectify or correct that?
Well, yeah, we have many different organizations and works that we continuously protect indigenous land, indigenous recuperation. Um, as of last year, the CELAC, which is the community of Latin American and Caribbean states, or the Central American states, also have yet again demanded reparations from Europe in regards of indigenous and Afro descendancy. Um, there's also continuous work in my area to continue upholding languages, traditions, all that type of civil action, um, in many ways. You know, I, me personally, I focus on three major areas, which are parts of Caribbean, especially between Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, Curacao, all that southern section, as well as Puerto Rico. I know my areas of the Taínos, and I also work Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, uh, Colombia, Venezuela, and Ecuador. So all that, if you see in that map, is that little point that is connecting to South America. So those three major countries, plus parts of the Caribbean and the top north section of South America. That's what I work in.
Okay. All right. Well, we thank you for coming in. We thank you for clicking that button to just see what we talking about. We appreciate you. Pa, you
Um,
got any comments or questions?
yeah. Is there any way that we can help y'all and assist y'all in your situation and how we can get your message out to the platform like we're doing right now? Would you like to come on next week where we can do a whole show in its totality, to let people in them know what you're doing with the family down there in the adjoining islands?
Oh, that'd be great. I mean, one of the major helps, especially for North Americans, is to continue giving visibilization because, um, you know, the conversation of who were the natives here before the arrival of the Europeans has been too United States centric and has not allowed that diversity that was here prior to the arrival. So any help in correcting that and expanding that in regards of our hemisphere would help a lot, and also the relation between Afro descendancy and indigenous, why there are now Afro indigenous people in our areas. So yeah, any help is welcome. to educate and help expand the horizons, because there are some efforts of some groups to erase that history and impose themselves as the only ones who know the who speak a truth, to say
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
What about viewers? Copper Fox said, can you drop your information in the link or in the chat, or you can share it on your screen share when
Yeah.
possible, because I was doing some investigation, right, and dealing with the Caribbean islands, especially down there in Havana, Cuba. They had the Pan American Conference, and within the Pan American Conference, we the Coppertone Indians, Afro Indians, actually was down there during the time um when Cuba had their doors open in Havana, and then when Fidel Castro um became the president, he actually did a treaty with the Mekasuki down there and had the Mekasuki to be internationally recognized, and that's part of our family down there in La Florida, So yeah, and then also my nephew Wale, he actually have some family members that's down there in the islands dealing with the Taino, so he's gonna be meeting with them, and also with my chief, will be meeting with some family members down there in the islands and abroad.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the history of Cuba, and its indigenous and its indigenous history in that sense. The actions taken by Fidel Castro with the Mesequitos, well, that's a whole ass conversation in that sense, because in difference of United States, we don't. There are no blood quantums here. We do not apply any one drop rule. We don't have federally recognized tribes. uh, I'll give you an example. My people, the Bribri, there was a before the Revolution of the United States, about 50 years prior to the Revolution of the United States, we had a revolution of indigenous people. The Bribri led, and a whole bunch of other groups like the Cabecar, the Brunca, the Nagobulgue. They all joined together. We beat the Spaniards and we recuperated an area on the Atlantic, closer to the Atlantic zone, which is the Talamanca area. And from that point on, even after our independence, it is recognized as a indigenous area, and government doesn't and cannot get into there as easily as they would like to in some occasions. So that has happened throughout the whole region of Central America, partly in Caribbeans, and then in South America we see that also. So for us, the categorizations in the United States, once you start talking about the expansion in Central Caribbean and South America, they are thrown out the window. They are worthless. They do not function because you can't classify the indigenous people in the way that the North American indigenous, especially United States, were classified.
Mhm.
So that changes the whole conversation in tenfold.
Wow, that was up.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, that is awesome. Yeah, you got to drop your information, and if anything, we can
Well,
I
you know
just
what?
assist in
put
a
my
way.
Put it,
email on the private chat.
yeah,
So
put it in the
anyone,
private chat. We got it. We got
yeah,
it.
Mm.
Yeah,
yeah, just write
yeah.
me, and I gladly will be here to give my knowledge, man. And as somebody whose blood is part of that indigenous, I'm here to expand, because America is not just United States. It's goes all the way from Tierra del Fuego, Argentina, all the way to Canada and the Caribbean. So 35 nations are currently American, and United States does not have the monopoly or the claim of that term American. So we have to break that in order to understand what was happening here before the arrival of the Europeans and post the arrival of Europeans, so we can understand what social dynamics happen between indigenous, Afro descendancy, and the European invaders that were here.
My nephew have a question for you, Wale Origin. He said, "Have you ever heard of the Yamaso Taino down there in Cuba?"
The Yamaso Taino, yes, I've heard of them. I know that the Yamaso are was a combination of two particular tribes in Cuba, and I can expand furthermore in another channel in regards of the history, etc. But yes, I am aware of the Yamaso Taino.
Dagger. Dagger. That's what he said. That's
And
what's up, family. That's
Dagger
what's
is
up,
a
man.
good comment, just so you know. Dagger is a good comment.
Yeah,
It's
that's a
good.
good comment. That means thumbs up. Yeah, yeah. Well, we sure would love to have you on next week and everything. You know,
Lovely.
this is beautiful. This beautiful. We connected with family from across the water. You know,
Yeah.
down on the other side. A matter of fact, did y'all get affected by the hurricane down there? Are y'all good?
Oh, you have no idea. It was terrible. I mean, just in my area, Costa Rica, uh, at the beginning of the hurricane, we had one day with about 200, 300 different events, from flooding to landslides to affectations throughout the whole country. One of my family members is in Barbados. She was evacuated, and the impact was harsh. Nicaragua was affected also. Honduras was affected also. The northern part of Belize and Guatemala, and then while they headed towards Texas, then you had the impacts in Jamaica, Barbados, Granados, um, etc. You know, it really impacted us that, and it was just this week, the beginning of this week, that we saw the lowering of the rains and having a breather to try to, in my country and in other areas, to try to clean. And we just got warning that the 16th tropical depression is forming. So in the next couple of weeks, we may be having more rain into us. But it's been aggravated by the whole climate change situation. It's normal for us to live under rain. We have only two seasons. We have 6 months of no rain and 6 months of pure rain. So
Mm.
we're accustomed to that, but it has become it's now more aggravated. So, you know, landslides, flooding, all that type of thing is just coming now.
Wow. Because it's aggravated here too, but not to that extent.
Right.
We've been getting a lot of rain, and that's not normal for July.
Yeah.
But you know what's funny? It's funny that you don't even smell the rain no more because you used to smell the rain. You can't smell the rain no more.
No,
Real
I
rain,
don't.
you can real rain. Am I
Yeah.
the only one that used to smell the rain?
No, I get it because I used to smell when rain is about to come. Yeah. Yeah.
You don't
No,
even
I
smell the
know. I
rain
no
no more.
longer. In fact, I started noticing that a few years ago, that I was no longer smelling the rain. But now, what happens to me personally is that I get one of my in my eyes, I start feeling kind of like a pressure. So I know that the pressure is coming down, and I know that rain is coming.
Okay.
Yeah. Kind of like a pressure headache type of
Yeah,
thing. Yeah. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, this is really interesting. We love this kind of we do. Yeah, we will definitely connect with you, and if anything, bring awareness to what's going on, and extend that olive branch for people if they want to help, if whatever they can do to help. Yeah, I get it.
love it,
Yeah, that's
love it, and
yeah, they happy down there.
Huh?
I'm sorry?
I say you family down there.
Familia.
La
That's
familia.
La Familia.
See,
Laugh.
All
see,
right.
amigo.
Send me an email for the next show, and I'll be here.
All right,
Yes.
muchas gracias.
Pura vida. Ewa. Beshko woblaba. That's how my people say
Right.
goodbye. It means
Sis-
Beshko woblaba means walk with your eyes open.
All right.
That's
So
And my language is
when we're saying see you later or goodbye, we say Beshko woblaba. So walk with your eyes open. Watch where you're walking.
yes.
if we
Same
say
as
Tina
protection.
Tunica, need to see you again. Tina Tunica.
See
So
you
we're gonna
again.
say bye.
Yes.
Tina Tunica.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace. All right. Wow. That
Yeah, that's
was
what's
amazing.
up. We're connecting with the people.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody
Anybody
have
else have any
last
comments
comments or
you want to
questions?
join? We heading to the it's the final countdown. Oh, it's the final countdown.
I love when you do that. You're so crazy. Okay. That's awesome. Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah. Yes, yes. So y'all stay tuned next Sunday,
Bring solutions.
6:30 Central Standard Time. We're gonna have a special guest come on the panel, Sunday panel discussion. All right, bringing some awareness. Everybody laughing. Yeah, I love it. He loves that. And have you seen that video of that little boy doing that nationwide? That one? Can you do that
Oh,
one?
yeah. Nationwide is on your side. Nationwide. I sound just like you, man.
Oh my God.
Nationwide
Yeah.
is on your side. Yeah. Oh. Oh. Oh,
Yeah.
all is good, all is well,
Yeah.
all is good. We wish y'all peace and happy bear grease. You heard me? If we out of here.
Peace.
Peace. See you, Tunica. See y'all later.